7. Go ahead and get started.
Sounds good.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Rowley Municipal Lighting Plant Board of Commissioners meeting for May 15th, 2019. There's agendas here on the table if anyone needs one. Feel free to grab one. We'll go ahead and get started with the agenda here. First item here is Citizens Query. It starts at 7 o'clock to 7:10. And if there's anyone here that has any comments, the public is welcome to speak. We'll move on to item agenda number 2, to welcome new board member, Mr. Mark Cousins here, elected freshly last night.
Yesterday,
so,
yeah. Hi, I'm Mark Cousins.
I don't know if you want to tell anything about yourself or looking forward to working with you here. Yeah.
Yep, so me too. I'm all excited to get to work. One of the things that just Brian and I were briefly talking about beforehand, that I deferred until we got into open session is the organization, the board structure organization. So my thought in that was, and again, we still have another member that's MIA.
Right.
So my thought is that, I don't know how it was done in the past, but what I think, the way I think it should be is so, and I don't even know how the rotation was before, but if the member who gets elected in 2019 is the secretary or this, it should, whoever gets elected in 20, should, when was the last seat that was, who was the last seat? Not who the body was, but like the year that they got elected. So it should rotate kind of that way.
Okay.
So that's my thought. Has that been held to? Do we know? Or how is it? Is it just kind of...
I don't know. Do you know?
You're kind of the history. You've got
The historian.
Yeah.
It's just been whoever wants to take that role.
So have you had, let me ask you a question. So in the past, has there ever been one member that has been either the board chair or the secretary for multiple years in a row?
Yes.
Okay, so that throws my theory out the window.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of continuance, I think, because after every election, it's redecided upon board structure and all, so we can kind of
Why don't we table
hash
it?
it out. Yeah.
You can go for tonight. Why don't we just table it for?
For the purpose of this meeting, we'll have the
fine.
temporary chair, and
Yeah.
we'll carry on forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, very good. So, like I said, welcome to the board, and we will hopefully have a third member here by next meeting. Moving on to agenda item number 3, to review and accept the previous meeting minutes. We have them here on the table. I've reviewed them. You've got them there. By consequence of you not being on board prior to this, it sounds like I'm the only one that can actually approve the minutes, because the other member is no longer on the board who was there for these 2 meetings. So I reviewed them. I did not find anything. I did one correction.
Which was
You got that?
Yep.
And I approved the minutes. For one of them was the March 27th meeting. Yep, and then April 10th. And I need to sign it, right?
Yes, there's. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, Brian.
Were those 2 meetings recorded?
Yes, they were.
All right. Moving to item number 4, Rowley Solar LLC update. Do you have anybody here from party? We don't. It doesn't want to.
So as far as the Rowley Solar Field update, Love's Field project is switch ready, as it was the last time. There's really not much of an update. We're waiting on the solar company to do a few items and reach out to us, and then we will move forward with that project and get it online.
Okay.
Great. For all intents and purposes, the light department is
Yes.
everything tested, ready to go?
Yep, there's a few more tests that need to be, performed, but that'll be the day that it actually goes online. That's just to make sure the linemen are safe, and that it, cuts out when it's supposed to cut out, when it doesn't have power, and that type of
Right,
stuff.
actual online commissioning testing? Yeah. All right.
Excuse me, can I ask you what's the Rowley Solar LLC project about?
Go ahead and state your name and your address.
Sayad Ndesho, yeah, resident 260 Main Street.
So that's the, pleased to meet you, that is the solar field that was in the works prior to me getting here. It's Bonnie Berkowitz's property over 623 Weathersfield, I guess I got that right. And they, struck a deal with Raleigh Light Department to, purchase the power, and everybody thought it would be a good thing for the residents of Raleigh and, an in-town solar field. So they reached a deal, and it's nearing completion and on my date.
Thank you.
And what's the, Mike Vaccaro from 7 Heritage Way, what's the connected KW? I'm not familiar with the project.
Is it a two meg?
2 meg.
Wow, that's a fairly good
It's
size.
electric.
Yeah.
There's a chair.
Oh, there's a
And how long is the contract for?
I believe it's a 20 year.
PPA is 20.
25? Yeah. So there's a similar project up and running over on Central Street Solar, that one. It's already up and running.
Behind the country gardens.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also the community solar aspect to this project that
Oh, okay.
has already been subscribed by, I think, a number of people. I think it's full.
Okay.
So, I mean,
That's good to know.
if you got any more,
Yeah, they took all the applications in, and it
Yeah.
was a first come, first served basis, and that was all prior to me being here, but I've seen the folder with all the names and the sign-up sheet, so.
any further information on the
Yeah, no,
solar
that's
this time?
pretty much status quo for that, just waiting on them, and we'll go from there and get it online.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, the Q1 budget update. We've got here documentation here for Q1. If you want to.
Yeah, so it's just a breakdown again. It's relatively new here, but there was a spreadsheet on the computer that the former general manager would use, and we just have the budget that he created and the actual numbers for Q1. Just plugged and played, and the details on the next sheet as far as all the account numbers and what went where and that sort of thing. Pretty standard. So as you know, for the prior couple meetings where, they had a rough year in 2018. They ended up in a negative cash flow situation, so we're kind of doing a lot of projections and getting our hands dirty and looking at everything and just making sure we don't, get put in that situation again. So we're watching things a little closely than maybe the previous year or two, and just keeping an eye on everything to make sure we don't end up in that situation again.
So no, in one of the previous meetings we talked about it monthly. We want to just get this quarter started first and then get into.
Yeah, as we get the new board, I think we can all can discuss, and you guys can discuss what you want, what you need, what you don't need.
Because Katie hasn't been in to close out any more months since we've had meetings.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's due in at the end of
She's due in.
next week.
Yeah.
She'll close out April, so.
This one should close, this should do one month at a time normally, or should
Yeah.
okay.
1 month.
Yeah, so we're, the entire company's 8 people, so we do, we do sub out some of the accounting work and some of the other work, energy rebate stuff. Everyone's got a pretty full plate, and certain things get subbed out. That's just kind of how it's been. We'll fix it if it's not broken, I guess, right?
Right. So it looks like we're on a good number here with purchase power from where we were.
Yeah, things are looking much better than they were the previous year. That's for sure. I mean, we're in the shoulder month time of year anyway, but yeah, considering the time of year, looking pretty good.
All right. Anything else on Q1 budget?
You guys have any questions?
So maybe this is presented fuel charge is not broken up separately. Okay. It's buried in, right, Eric?
Yeah, in the sales.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
All right.
Very good. That was item 5.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure.
Again, Sayed Mudasho, 260 Main Street. I'm just curious to know a little bit about the process for budgeting with the company. Do you do a forecast on a yearly basis and then update on a quarterly basis? That's why we have this quarter 1 update? Or how does it go?
So, yeah, in-house, the previous GM took historical data to come up with, operating expenses, maintenance of the line, substation, lighting, all the inner workings, pole setting, capital projects, all that type of stuff. And then we also, so Energy New England is our, they work with us as far as reaching all our power deals. So they do a lot of forecasting for us as far as the purchase power costs.
Okay.
So we take into account, or the previous manager would take that into account, and all the historical data from the actual, line guys that we employ out there working, and then, what are our projects, what are our priorities, what are we doing for trees this year, what are we doing for step-down areas?
So you have it for a
trucks.
full year first?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll set it up for the whole year, and we operate on a calendar year, where the town, I believe, runs on a business year, right?
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on quarter 1 budget?
I have a question, yes. Given that the feed-in costs are really driven by how much you have to use the pool, where do you stand on that in the first quarter compared to, say, the same period, first quarter 2018? Because that's where the kind of big ticket items come from, right?
Can you just speak a little louder? I didn't catch the first
Sorry.
part of it.
The issue of the pool charges and where they stand this quarter compared to the first quarter of last year. I mean, if you're doing better, how are you doing better? What changed to kind of make the picture improve? And I
So
assume-
when you say the pool, you're talking about like the prices of the
Purchasing power out in the future?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
That's what
yes,
it's talking about.
so last year it was, it ended up being $633,000 more than it had been the prior year. So that was hence the, the situation that they got in. And the
Because,
previous, it was just, natural gas prices were up, it was, just wasn't great.
That was probably
Colder winter.
weather related also.
Yeah, weather has like
had a lot of
everything to
outages.
do with it, really, but, so he didn't make a PPA adjustment until like December. and,
Correct.
Had maybe, looking back, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but
Sure.
maybe had they made the adjustment back in, May or June, it would have softened the blow a little bit, but.
Do you interrupt, do you ladder the purchases, like going out forward? Again, I have a utility background in that. So do you purchase like blocks of energy out in the future, or do you just kind of,
Yeah, so Brian's
must do
been,
that,
Brian's
but I
been
mean, I'm
asking
just-
me some questions
maybe
about
it's,
that. and
maybe it's too nitty gritty
No,
right now?
No, it's not at all. So yeah,
Yeah.
everything's like kind of overlapped. This one will expire, a new one's coming on. And
Right, so you just kind of ladder it as you go through,
So they-
purchasing based on the natural gas prices and stuff like that.
So we try to limit the
Right.
exposure, and that's what they refer to as hedged. What
Right.
percentage are you hedged? And we typically run around that 80% mark, which leaves 20% out there
Yeah.
for spot market stuff.
Right.
Um,
And I think that's what you were asking.
well, that's part of it. I mean, the other issue is as intermittent sources go up, you increase the exposure to having to go to the pool in order to fill that gap.
The peaking stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty complex
It is.
market.
Yeah.
We do get help, like I said, from Ian even.
Just to to add to that, I would say yes and no, because if you buy, for instance, you're buying this solar from this company but you know exactly when the solar power would be generating. So, there's no need to hedge for that period because you know when exactly it's gonna happen.
Except
So,
like the last month when we haven't had any solar power
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard to do.
But yeah,
I take your point. I mean, that's the whole. Ideally, that's correct, but that variability is kind
Mhm.
of a function of the source of the power.
Right.
You're not going to get variability from Seabrook, but you are going to get variability from Country
For
Garden,
hydro.
Country Garden
Yeah.
solar farm.
Yeah. I think based on some of the percentages that our power sources are generating from, where we're pulling from,
Mm.
there's a good fixed amount of base or natural gas generation. Some of the renewables and wind and solar are a much smaller percentage on the purchase power for what's hedged.
Yeah,
But
it's
like
it's a
it's about
pretty
20%.
well.
Yeah, it's about 20% right now of spot market price.
Hmm.
Yeah, or month to month, that number can go from 78 to
Yeah.
percent to 82, 84. But generally speaking, it's that 80-20 for the hedged and smart. Does that help you, Bernie? or-
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the start of the discussion, so, yeah.
Thank you.
And it clears all those transactions on behalf of the department, right?
Yes.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 6, final agenda item, an update on town separation of funds.
So that kind of ties into with the quarter one budget a little bit. So when I first started here, we had the cash flow issue. The town treasurers, the treasurer's department had some questions, some concerns. Apparently, they had done this with the water department several years ago. Eric, you could probably
Yes,
have an idea of when that happened, when it didn't happen. Not all places do it. Some do, some don't. I've done a little, digging around myself to see who's doing it, who isn't doing it. I think it's more common the way we have been doing it. But having said that, I'm okay with that, separating the funds. It's what Karen wants to do. We can make it happen. We just need to, shift some stuff around and find out what I feel comfortable with is for operating cash, so we can move forward and more or less run our own. She's still going to be keeping an eye on everything. We sent some emails back and forth, had some questions, some concerns, that type of stuff. But it can be done, and we just, we're doing all the homework we need to find out what that number needs to be and what transfers need to be made in order to, do the separation. And also with that is coming July 1 with the health benefits. And that was in a couple of discussions in the previous meetings. I guess we used to just pay it in a lump sum at the end of the year, and we're going to start going towards a monthly payment to cover all the health benefits, fringe benefits for the employees.
And that's starting July.
I believe it was July 1 for that.
And the 6 one was the other.
She says, I got to follow up with her. I
Okay.
have some more questions. But she did also, for the sake of discussion, it was June 1, but in actuality, it was towards the end of June that was really going to happen because Katie had to do a couple things.
right, she has to close out
Reconcile
before we
accounts and all that.
exactly.
Yeah. But we'll do what homework we need to do, and with Mark's background, we'll certainly be bugging him for a couple questions. But yeah, we'll get through it and make it happen and get it done.
Sounds good. Anything further on item number 6, update on town separation of funds? Okay. Forgot to say that citizen's query was over 10 minutes ago, but 7:10 it was. All right, that's the end of the agenda here for this evening. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.